is our special guest tonight. Class of 94, Gonzaga College High School, Mr. Purple Eagle himself, Malcolm Johnson. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. How are you, Ken, Kevin, Tim? Good to see you all, you men.
That's awesome. Well, let's go all the way back. Let's talk about, because like I said, the four of us, we all graduated the same year from the WCAC. Let's go back to your days on I Street. Joe Rada really hooked us up with some awesome memories, and you, obviously you hold a special place in all of our friends' hearts who come from I Street. I wanted to spend a second on this picture here that you're seeing.
That's a
now.
classic.
Yeah, it is. I was looking. You can look up and down those
my
rows.
goodness.
Now, you could talk about all the people that we know from there who are our age, who've gone on to do amazing things, great fathers, great sons, great brothers. You sent me the pictures. That was my first thought. I'm like, oh, for God's sake! Like, we're in our early 40s. Like, they had. I mean, it wasn't a high definition at that point in time, but we still had color photos. Like, what's going on here? Oh, for all the schools, of all the schools, you want to be able to have them purple jerseys.
Okay, can I just say something right quick though, Kevin? If you look at those helmets, this might as well have been the 40s, because I think you get in the concussion protocol after snap number 1 if you try to play in a helmet that looked like that in 2020. There was a huge rivalry with St. John's, and there always will be at Gonzaga. But at the time that Jeff Clay was a college All-American at Catholic University, was just inducted into Gonzaga's Athletic Hall of Fame. At the time that Jeff and I were in high school, there was that school in Hyattsville and then the rest of the conference. And Tim Strachan was on absolutely the Mount Rushmore of that school's all-time greats. And I'll never forget the game we played against that team in the fall of 1992. It was down at our place, and he's tossing the ball all over the yard. His all-met wide receiver, Brian McCarthy, had a couple of touchdowns. One of them was on my head. And after that game, our head coach, who had been at Carroll for 2 decades before coming over to Gonzaga, Moss Collins, said, "So you guys just saw what big-time football is all about." And he wasn't saying that to make us feel bad about ourselves. It was motivation. And Tim was absolutely our team's motivation that entire offseason. When we found out that Tim had a scholarship offer to go play for Penn State, and Joe Paterno wanted Tim to come be the starting quarterback, that motivated us. And the tragedy of not having a chance to compete against Tim in the fall of 1993, obviously it pales in comparison to everything he fought through to be where he is today. But that, for me, is one memory I wish we'd always had, because Tim, you may not have known it, but you motivated every guy on our team to be better. That ass whooping that you delivered in the fall of 92 contributed to us paying you back in the fall of 93. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. And also thank you for not playing in that game.
I'm glad I got a beard now, because you can't see me blushing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, man. But, you guys motivated me too. And I love playing against Gonzaga because, as you said, I mean, I grew up with all those guys. I was that close to going to Gonzaga. Like people might not know. But I'm still friends with all those guys and remember the days well. And I truly appreciate it, man.
So you go to Notre Dame from the WCAC. Maybe talk a little bit about what prepared you for that bigger stage playing at the WCAC, and maybe a little bit about your experience there for the Fighting Irish.
So you just said it, Ken. The preparation came way before actually getting to South Bend. And look, I hate to say it, there was really no choice coming from Gonzaga Jesuit school. My parents were laser focused on me getting the best education. So all the other places I looked at, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, no offense to those schools, my parents said, you get to go on a visit. And the priest at Notre Dame said, you better not think about going anywhere outside of Notre Dame. But when I got there, I realized academically Gonzaga had prepared me, but on the football field, Moss Collins was every bit as tough as Lou Holtz was, every bit. And I don't think Moss ever came up to me at any point after a game and said, you played really well. He would always say, we won, we could get better. And that was Lou's coaching style. I will say this though, outside of the competition on the field, my father, who trained me and Jeff Clay and Chris Rozier, went on to play at William and Mary, and Vernon Davis, who's literally just retired from the league, Vontae Davis, Josh Cribbs. My dad in the summer was what prepared me for Notre Dame. So we worked out on 8th Street. There used to be a little YMCA right off of U Street rather. Sean Springs would be in there with me and my dad in the basement. After working out, I would have to leave that little tiny weight room, come down to Gonzaga, run 400-meter runs with the helmet on and a football tucked under my arm. And Jeff Clay joined, our defensive lineman joined. I was the only one that was not allowed to quit any of those workouts. And that's what prepared me just to work, because I was never the best athlete at Notre Dame. I was never the fastest, but I like to think I was at least one of the hardest working. And that was really forged in DC and all the places we just talked about.
You're speaking about your father. Your father was a 7-foot basketball stud who played at UPenn, I believe.
He did.
So you dealt with this. So you're talking now about dealing with your father, talking to Joe Rada, Moss Collins, Lou Holtz, and your position coach at Notre Dame, Malcolm. Talk about that polarizing figure. Urban Meyer was in the receiver room with you. This is some influence here.
Urban's my guy. But again, he was not tougher than my dad. He was exactly like my dad, which is why he and I got along really well. My dad loved him. This is also a true story. So Urban didn't show up until I was a junior at Notre Dame. And he at the time was like 34 years old. He'd come from a school out in the WCAC. And he was rough around the edges. So he shows up 2 weeks before spring practice is supposed to start. I hadn't played at all on offense yet, only special teams. He calls me into the office. It's me, 4 other receivers who coming back. And he says, this is 6 a.m. He says, hi, I'm Urban Meyer, strip. So we look at each other and we thought we misheard him. He said, I'm Urban Meyer, strip. So he then proceeds to make all 5 of us take off our warm-ups, stand in front of him in nothing but underwear, and then he goes down the line. He tells my guy, Emmett Mosley, you're too fat. You got to lose 15 pounds or you never play. You're too slow. Sakia champion. You don't get faster, you'll never play. He gets to me, he says, you too goddamn skinny. We run it, Randy Moss. Randy couldn't get into this school, so we got stuck with you. You better get stronger or you'll never play. And I took that as a personal challenge. I started to eat weights, and I ended up playing for Urban for 3 more years. And he honestly was the number one influence in me having a successful career as a football player at Notre Dame and getting any shot at playing in the National Football League, because he was all about toughness and accountability, all the things that made him an amazing coach at Bowling Green and in Utah, Florida, Ohio State. So I love him. I wouldn't say polarizing at all. He was crazy. But he's my type of coach. He was like Moss. He was my type of coach. And you guys would have loved playing for him too, I could guarantee you.
Orientation stories about arriving in Pittsburgh. My understanding is they like their football team there.
They do, but I'm gonna tell you this. First of all, I was basically a fan for my entire NFL career. So I managed to last for 3 seasons and then a season in the Canadian League, but I did way more cheering than actually playing. I will say this though, it was eye-opening, and you have to admit that you are a fan. When you first get to the league, you playing with and against people that you watched on television for the last 10 or 15 years of your life. When I was a rookie, the Steelers did summer training camp scrimmages against the Washington football team. So we came down to Frostburg, and the first time I lined up for one-on-ones against Darryl Green, I thought I'd literally forgotten how to get in the football stance. Like, this is Darryl Green, 12-time All-Pro at the time, on his way to the Hall of Fame. I've been watching Darryl Green since I was, 6 or 7 years old playing throwback. And that to me is what you got to think. Every player who ever reaches that level has had some amount of, I was a fan first and now I'm here. And then you got to convince yourself that you belong.
Please. Just talk about that, how you've dedicated not only yourself to a career, but a career of giving back to the community.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Tim, because it does feel like this is my true passion and my true mission in life. You know, the lessons we learned at Gonzaga and from our parents, those are much bigger than what we achieved on the football field. And I was fortunate. I didn't think of it this way when I was sitting on the bench in Pittsburgh and then New York and Cincinnati, but I was fortunate that I was out of the football before I had a lot of damage physically, and I got to see the end coming before it came. When I was in Pittsburgh, my locker mate was Jerome Bettis, and Jerome, I knew him a little bit before I got to the Steelers because he's a Notre Dame guy. He came back to get his degree while I was still an undergrad at Notre Dame, so I got to know him then. But he really schooled me on, you have to make sure you are set up to do what you're meant to do and what you want to do after this is done versus what you have to do or what somebody tells you to do after this is done. And that was some of the best advice I ever got. So at 25, when football was done, I realized, just like all of us, when you first learned how to throw a football, you know, you needed instruction, you needed technical skills. And I knew I wanted to be in business and finance, but I didn't have that technical skill set. So getting an MBA was a natural way for me to go get those skills. And then I thought, I want to affect our community in a positive way. Everyone needs a relationship with a financial institution, even those who have not had access yet. So the first path was in real estate finance because that's the built community. It was very interesting to me to be able to work on large transactions that affect neighborhoods. And in the last year and a half, I've had the honor of leading a team that actually invests in affordable housing in markets across the country, which could not be more gratifying. And I'm sure you guys see what DC looks like today versus what DC looked like in 1994. There's far less affordable housing in communities like the ones where I grew up. So I have a direct hand in helping to preserve some of what our communities used to look like and provide opportunities for others. And a lot of it comes down to what you showed in that first picture, just the brotherhood. We all deserve those opportunities. The guy from Sursum Quarter, the guy from Langdon Park, the guy from Potomac. There's no difference in aptitude. It's who has access and who has an opportunity. So it's full circle, and I love every part of what I get to do today. But I stay close to the game. You know, I stay close to the game. I can't wait until Caleb and Coach T and all my guys down on I Street are back on the field. I'm hoping we get a rematch either against the Johnnies or that team from Hyattsville in the playoffs this year, because the competition still lives within all of us. I think Jay said it best. You know, no matter where you are who you are. You walk like a ball player, and that's in us. Tim, you have been a ball player and a warrior all your life. That's somebody meets you today, and they don't need to know any of your backstory. They see the way you look in their eyes. They see the way you carry yourself, and they know that you got that in you. And I'm proud and blessed that I get to still carry a lot of that in what I do every day for a living. So it's been a charmed life, and it's not done. It's not done. You know, I'm old, but I'm not done, and there's so much runway ahead. I'm really excited about what we're going to get to build for the next 43 years. Shout out to my idol from Northeast DC, Lawrence Moten. Tell you how I go full circle. Lawrence Moten was my hero and a hero for a lot of us who grew up in that era. I just heard from Lawrence's daughter, Leilani, today. I mentored her at the bank. She interned with us a summer ago. She got a full-time offer. She's going to be joining JP Morgan next year after she graduates from Morgan State University. That's full circle. That's what it's all about. And that's the power of this brotherhood. So much love to Lawrence Moten, Leilani Moten. Kevin, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, Malcolm.
He's Kevin Ricca.
Yeah, I'm about to stand up and applaud. That's such a great ending to the story. This is all we're trying to show everyone else what we got. But you're out there doing it. You're doing it day in, day out. And thank you for looking out for us. Thank you for being a guest tonight with us. One of the best guests ever. Thank you for telling him to keep doing what he's doing. Just don't do what we're doing unless you're going to do it with us, because we don't need you on the other side. We need you on this side. What a great guest, man. What a great dude.
Absolutely. Much love, man.
My man.
Thank you.
I'm Ken Marangolo. Until next Tuesday night, this is the WCAC Spectacular. We'll be back with another great guest. Looking forward to seeing you guys in 1 week from tonight. Want to say a special thank you to Luke and Vic, Kevin and T, our guest Malcolm Johnson tonight. Man, it's a good night when the Class 94 is in the house. We will see you guys next Tuesday night. Thank you so much.